Hey, good morning, friends. Good morning, good morning. All right, just fussing around. Hey, Fanny Faye Davis. Good morning to you. Tina, how are you, honey? It's good to see you. So glad you're here. How are you? I can't believe those girls of yours are 12 like that. Just blows my mind. It doesn't seem possible. Good morning, Bonnie. Hope you are grand this morning. Hope you're well. But, good morning, everybody. It is another Tuesday. It's a lovely day here. Hope everybody's doing okay. Hope you are grand. Let's see a few people coming in here. We'll give folks a chance to come along. Ah, what a what a time! What a time we find ourselves in. That the great Chinese curse that which I always loved the notion of may you live in interesting times. Like it does seem like we're living in interesting times, and it does feel a bit like a curse. So glad that we can journey together in this, that we can be together in our journeying, and I hope you and pray that everybody's doing well in it. Um, Life's good. That is great to hear. I'm so glad you're here. Yep. Good morning. Good morning, Audrey. Hey, John. Jamie, welcome, welcome, welcome. You're not that late. We're just getting going. So we are so glad that you're here. Uh, that we have been on this journey together for some time now. I think we are just about approaching uh, the 10-month mark, if I'm doing my math right. It's just about 10 months that we've been journeying together on 1111. So whether it's the first time here or whether you've been on this journey the whole time, welcome, because it has been a wild 10 months, has it not? So so glad you're here. So let's get going this morning. I am. It is so grand to come at this another week with all of you, and I'm so glad that you're here. Um, I know, Jim, you've been right there since the beginning. That um, throwing out spitballs, as which I would expect nothing less. So welcome. It is this day, this Tuesday, the 12th day of January at 11:11. And I am so glad that you are with us and you've chosen this to take a little time and journey with us today because it's a crazy time. It is a crazy time. And, uh, and, and negotiating this craziness, and I don't think any of us anticipated that we'd still be into 10 months of craziness, just getting crazier. I don't think that this was in the day planner. Everybody, as we turned the new year, everybody was looking towards something better. And one of the craziest things I've come across lately that was just on TikTok, and it has come as a result of some TikTok videos. Maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't. Maybe you're isolating your digital life, and I hope you are. I hope that you are being really diligent about what you're letting what electrons you're letting into your face, because There is some real forces out there that would drag our hearts down, that would fill us full of despair. Um, and I'm saying don't be educated about what's going on, don't hide. I mean, that's not my point. I'm saying that we all have to set a line of what it is we'll take in. But one of the things I came across was this notion that that Helen Keller never existed. Like it's this whole TikTok thing. If you know what I'm talking about, great. If you don't worry about it. It's not important. But it's hilarious because I think with all the world churning, like there's this whole community over TikTok that's kind of decided that Helen Keller doesn't exist, and they're making all these videos about that, and it's just a riot. I mean, she was kind of a manufactured persona, and like I don't know who she was or not. Like I mean, but I think that the simple fact that people are on about this, that this is something that's somehow come up, and that there's a community of people out there in the midst of all the other stuff that's going on, that the real hill we have to climb right now is to make sure everybody knows that Helen Keller there was no possible way that she could have been who she was. It's just hilarious. So if you don't know who Helen Keller was, she was an incredible woman who lived till about the middle of the last century. She was born deaf and blind, and from that didn't have the ability to speak. And her and her teacher Anne Sullivan went on to help her understand the world as it is, and she launched into the world. She went to Radcliffe. She spoke 6 languages. She could read and write 6 languages. She went on to do incredible things. She actually had a public speaking tour, if you can imagine this. Like that she had this incredible journey, and she wrote a number of books. One is A Light on My Journey, which is talks about her journey into becoming into consciousness and into kind of being aware. And it's so great because she's like a wildling until she gets till about because she can't see and she can't hear, that she's actually conscious when she learns kind of different things. And so one of the things I love about her is not just the fact that she's an incredible woman, has all this majesty and grit and an incredible ability that she brings to bear. But what's really cool is that if you read A Light in My Darkness, she comes up with this sense of understanding how she began to engage the world of the abstract. And I would say that the world of the abstract, it's what we call abstract, is often really the world of the spiritual. Like that's what she was really engaging. And so I want to read you a little excerpt this morning. That's what I want to, because I want to talk about it because in this, and I think it's so interesting that it is a part of the journeying right now, that and part of the zeitgeist and the chattering out there is that this didn't, that this is a fiction. And I would, and I think, this idea that all the things that we know, this upside down that we're finding ourselves in. And so I want to read you this little excerpt of her kind of journeying into some consciousness, because I think it offers us a nugget and a piece of love for our age. So she writes this. She says, I remember the morning that I first asked the meaning of the word love. This was before I knew many words. I had found a few early violets in the garden and brought them to my teacher. She tried to kiss me, but at the time I did not like to have anyone kiss me except my mother. And Miss Sullivan then gently put her arm around me and spelled into my hand, I love Helen. What is love? I asked. She drew me closer to her, and I said, it is here, pointing to my heart, whose beats I was conscious of for the very first time. Her words puzzled me very much because I did not then understand anything unless I touched it. I smelled the violets in her hand and asked, half in words and half in sign, the question which meant, is love the sweetness of flowers? No, said my teacher. And again I thought, the warm sun is shining on us. Is this not love? I asked, pointing in the direction from which the heart came, "Is this not love?" And it seemed to me that there was nothing more beautiful than the sun, whose warmth makes all things grow. But Miss Sullivan shook her head, and I was greatly puzzled and disappointed. I thought it strange that my teacher could not show me love. A day or two afterwards, I was stringing beads of different sizes in symmetrical groups. Two large beads, three small ones, and so on. I had made many mistakes, and Miss Sullivan had pointed them out again and again with gentle patience. Finally, I noticed a very obvious error in the sequence, and for an instant I concentrated my attention on the lesson and tried to think how I should have arranged the beads. Miss Sullivan touched my forehead and spelled with decided emphasis, "Think." In a flash, I knew the word was the name of the process that was going on in my head. This was my first conscious perception of an abstract idea. For a long time, I was still. I was not thinking of the beads in my lap, but trying to find a meaning for love in the light of this new idea. The sun that had been a cloud all day, there had been brief showers, but suddenly the sun broke forth in all of its southern splendor. And again I asked my teacher, "Is this not love?" "Love is something like the clouds that were in the sky before the sun came out," she replied. Then in simpler words than these, which at that time I could not have understood, she explained, "You cannot touch the clouds, you know. You feel the rain and know how glad the flowers are and the thirsty earth are to have it after a hot day. You cannot touch love either, but you feel the sweetness that it pours into everything. Without love, you would not be happy or want to play." That beautiful truth burst upon my mind, and I felt that there were invisible lines stretched between my spirit and the spirits of others. I'm going to read that last sentence again. That beautiful truth burst upon my mind, and I felt that there were invisible lines stretched between my spirit and the spirit of others. Friends, there are invisible lines stretched between your spirit and the spirit of others. One of the beauties of what we see played out in Helen Keller's awakening and awareness of her world is that in one of the gifts that she gives us, not just in the incredible woman that she becomes and the heroic way in which she engages her disabilities, but in the way that she comes into being through the gentle love and guidance and the power of love in what Anne Sullivan does with her. But beyond all of that, the way that she then has this ability to map her inner world. And I would say that we who are sighted and who can speak and who can hear missed out on this because we are constantly, and I mean, we are getting bombarded. Like if you look at any digital screen right now, you are getting bombarded. You talk to anybody about your opinion or their opinion, you are getting bombarded. That the in the words of Spinal Tap, it turned up to 11. I mean, everything is at 11 right now. But in the midst of this, and even in our own development and even in our own growing, we lost the thread of the reality of the spiritual world in which we are created, in which we are held, in which we live, in which we die, in which we are surrounded, in which we will forever live. This that I think is just encapsulated in the beauty of this line from Helen Keller, that I felt that there were invisible lines stretched between my spirit and the spirits of others. Friends, there are invisible lines. Whatever anybody thinks about whatever's going on, whatever their opinion, whatever they, if they even, whatever their opinion about Helen Keller, if they think she exists or not, whatever their opinion politically, whatever your opinion medically, whatever your opinion, all of that. There are invisible lines stretched between you, your spirit, and the spirit of others. Paul writes to the church in Ephesus. He says this, "So then you are no longer strangers or travelers, but you are fellow citizens with the saints and the members of the household of God. Build on the foundation of the apostles and the prophets, Christ Jesus himself being the cornerstone, in whom the whole scripture, being joined together, grows into a holy temple in the Lord. In him you also are being built together into the dwelling place for God by the Spirit." Friends, however shattered, however broken, however disjointed you feel things might be in this world right now, know that this work that Paul is pointing to, this reality that Helen Keller pointed to, that she saw the nature of reality and was able to articulate it. I mean, we all saw that reality at some point. We all knew it. We all had that awakening, but we were so preoccupied with the visible and the physical world, with the loud things and the gummy and the gummy bears and the Flintstones and all the other things that we were unaware of it. The gift of what she offers us is that her ability to map her awareness of coming into being, of coming into the spiritual world, of coming into the world of the abstract, allowed her to offer us this great wisdom, and that which isn't just real for that moment, but it is real for all moments and all of us. That there is this great invisible line stretched between our spirits and the spirits of others. That we are being built into a holy temple, you and I. We are being built together as a dwelling place for God. That's the promise. That's the invitation. And that's the reality of the world. Like, that's the thing. That's the reality of the world. We can deny it. We cannot deny it. We can say Helen Keller was real. We can say Helen Keller was a fiction. Whatever we want to say. But the reality of what is actually happening in this world is that you are being built into the dwelling place by God for the Spirit. Like, that's it. That is what is happening. That is not a fiction. That is not an imagination. It is a reality that was glimpsed by Helen when she was growing up and first entered into the world. You never see things quite the same way as when you see them for the first time. And when and the gift of her time was that she got to map to us and give to us her first indications. We, friends, are in this place where we might not be able to see the work of the master craftsman. We may only see somebody slinging the sledgehammer at all that seems to be beautiful, or singing or hosing down the world with a fire hose that is simply washing away all that seems to be true and right and good. But that's not the reality. That's not the really real. That's not what's actually going on. God is building the temple in you. God is building the temple in me, and God is building the temple between us, here and now, for the dwelling of the Spirit every day. That's what's really going on. That those lines are as connected and as real as they ever were in Helen's time and all those who came before us. I want to leave you with this little thought from Lewis. We spent a lot of time with C.S. Lewis, and because we should, like everybody should spend. I think in many ways Lewis coming out, C.S. Lewis, if you don't know, a great Christian theologian. He was a war veteran, as a war out of his veteran experience, ended up an atheist and has this ongoing call from God. Becoming one of the great apologists and great purveyors and illustrators of the Christian spirit in the last century. And he wrote this. He says, "We, or at least I, shall not be able to adore God in the highest occasions if we have learned no habit of doing so on the lowest. At best, our faith and our reason will tell us that he is adorable, but we shall not have found him so, not have tasted and seen. Any patch of sunlight in a wood will show you something about the sun, which you could never get from reading books on astronomy. These pure and spontaneous pleasures of patches of God light in the woods of experience." My friends, I hope for you patches of God light in these days, that you might find those threads that connect us and hold tight to them. You may find the brickwork of God at work in your life, wherever it is, and that you may bask in it. You may see a light in your darkness in the midst of all that is going on, and that you may know we are ever and always connected and being built and raised and loved by the one who made us. That truly we are being joined together, grown into a holy temple in the Lord. And in him, you also are being built together into a dwelling place for God by the Spirit. Enjoy today some moments of God light. Enjoy today some places where the Spirit connects between all things. Enjoy them today, regardless of how the world churns or who says what on TikTok or however it all goes. This is my hope for all of you today. All right, friends. Thank you so much for being with us today. I hope I hope you'll continue to journey with us tomorrow. We're going to spend a little time with people this week. That I wanted to spend some time with Helen Keller today. Tomorrow we're going to spend time with a guy by the name of John Noble, because he's got an incredible story too, and because I think it's important for us to look at what it is that how people who have overcome, because we're in a time of overcoming. And we need these encouragements. And one of the great ways that God has given us to be encouraged is to look at the people who overcame in the past. And so that's what we're going to be about this week. So I am so glad that each one of you are here, and I hope in the days ahead you find your little patches of God light to bask in. All right, friends. Peace and grace. See you tomorrow.